Welcome to the February 26, 2024 meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Zoning Adjustment. The Board of Zoning Adjustment is a 5-member board. 3 affirmative votes are required to approve a request for variance or other appeal. For anyone addressing the board today, please give us your name and address for the record, and then tell us what your hardship is or what your objection to this request may be. You will be given our decision today verbally, and you will receive our decision in writing within 10 days. Zoning approvals can be issued immediately following the hearing in our office at room B200. However, you will first be required to obtain a permit from the Jefferson County Department of Health if your application involves connection to a septic tank, or the Jefferson County Environmental Services Department if your application involves connection to sanitary sewer. Anyone disagreeing with the board's decision today has 15 days in which to file an appeal in circuit court. Also, we would ask that you silence any electronic devices during this hearing. Would staff please present the case?
Yes, ma'am. This is case A24004. It's a use variance to allow construction of a duplex for personal and or family use. The property retains its original A1 zoning. The improvements to the residence are a residence and a barn. Property size is 14.41 acres. The reason for the variance is the zoning in A1, section 701.01 outlines the use for A1 agricultural zoning. It states that 2 family residences are only allowed in the R3 zoning district, the R7 PUD zoning district, and the MX PUD zoning district. The applicants in this case are in the process of constructing a single-family dwelling with an attached in-law suite, guest house. For they have requested 2 addresses to set up separate mailboxes. I must say that if these units weren't attached by the garage, they could be permitted by the blessing of the board. Since 1990, there have been 30 cases requesting a guest garage apartment. Only 3 of those have been denied. The denials are bullets in your report. The remainder of the requests, guest house garages, were approved. However, in 6 of those requests, it was stipulated that guest house or garage apartment be for family use only. I'm sorry, didn't change the board here. That's what they're proposing. With the houses in the guest house in between. There's an aerial view right there showing, and also there's zoning showing that the A1 zoning, and that it's a very large tract of land. So therefore, that being said, staff recommends approval for case 004.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case? No. Okay. At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? If there is no opposition, they say I would like to see if the board, can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I make a motion for approval with the stipulation that the units be used for personal or family use only. For example, they should not be used for rental or short-term rental purposes.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, your variance has been granted. Okay, now if you, Steph, please present the next case.
Yes, ma'am. This is case A21005. Variance from the terms of the zoning resolution to allow recording of a 2-lot subdivision with each lot having less than the minimum required 1 acre, and to allow an existing carport to remain as located 7 feet from the side property line. You can see on the diagram here, this is what they're proposing, the 2 lots being separated. And here's a look at the aerial showing what's around it and also the zoning. You'll notice that the lot in question is the smaller of the lots in the area. A1, as we have defined it, must have a 1 acre minimum lot size, but that's pre-existing lot size. The size of the proposed lot, or the lot as it is 1.04 acres. The mobile home has been located on the property for some time. In 2006, the Board of Zoning Adjustment denied a request to allow the mobile home to be occupied by someone other than the property owners. The case was appealed in circuit court, but without this denial was upheld by the board's decision. The current owner of the property purchased the property in 2018, and for several years rented the mobile home on the property, which is in violation of mobile home usage in A1 zoning. In this particular area, the county have very few lots that contain less than 1 acre. In fact, again, as you can see, within a mile of the subject property, there are 3 other tracts that contain less than 1 acre. The land use plan specifically discourages smaller lot development along the Warrior Jasper Road. Because the proposed subdivision conflict with both the area lot pattern and the policies of the area land use plan, the staff is recommending denial for the element of this request.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff at this time or the applicant regarding the case?
I just have one question. So your recommendation regarding the setback variance was of lot 2? What was that?
Yes, ma'am. Let me go back of lot 2, because when it's separated, you'll see lot 2. The shed on lot 2 would not conform with the zoning regulations.
Okay, so you don't approve of that either? Am I correct or not?
Right. We're recommendation denial. But since the property, it doesn't, it wouldn't change the area, the view of it.
So it's not going to substantially change the character.
Right. It doesn't change the character in there. However, by our standards or by what we have to recommend denial, because it does not conform to our regulations.
And Dr. Dixon, just to elaborate a little bit more on your question about the setback variances themselves, they wouldn't even be necessary if there wasn't the subdivision. So we recommend a denial of the subdivision. See what I'm saying?
I do.
But if you all were to approve it, the setbacks would be included with that.
Okay. I got it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Okay, and then, did someone raise their hand back there? I couldn't see behind you. Okay, thank you. Okay, well then the public hearing is now closed. If there are no other questions or comments from the board members, can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of the setback variance request associated with the proposed lot 2.
Have a
Second.
Okay.
Are y'all recommending approval of allowing the subdivision?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed?
Was there a second to the motion?
Yes.
Who's the second?
Andre?
Okay, the variance has been granted. Next case, please.
Yes, ma'am. This is case 824-006. It's a variance for the terms of the zoning resolution to allow construction of a warehouse to be located 10 feet from the south property line where the adjacent property line zone C1 or commercial in lieu of the required 35 feet. Of the plot plan, you can see what's in question is this 10 feet, this right here, right in there is what's in question, the reason for the variance. In 1992, the property was rezoned from R1 to C1. In 1997, the property was rezoned from C1 to its current I1 light industrial zoning for the purpose of establishing a business. The variance was granted to allow the outdoor sign to be there. There was existing. It allowed 2 signs. However, that has very little variance. The reason for the, again, variance is section 901.03, minimum yard requirements in I1 zoning. There's not a hardship with the request, but the request is minor in nature. The difficulty in developing the property is due to the shape of the property and the lack of space in the property to the facilities. Let's look at the area right there. That again, that's where it is. The purpose of this, I think, is mainly to allow for storage, which you see they're already stored. The Dollar General, which is located right there, is a different, is in a commercial zoning district, which would allow less than 10 feet. That being said, staff recommends approval of case 006.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for the staff or the applicant regarding the case? Okay.
That says A23. Should it be A24 up there?
Yes, ma'am. That's an error we had.
Okay.
It's 24 in the bottom of this.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Excuse me one moment. Okay. The public hearing is now closed, and if there are no other questions or comments from the board members, can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of case A-24-0006.
Thank you. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? No. Then the variance has been granted. Thank you.
Yes.
If staff would please present the next case.
Yes, ma'am. This is, again, and we had an error up there. That should be 824-007. Case 824-007. It's a variance to allow the construction of a 1,400 square foot accessory structure with an 80 square foot attached open front porch and 220 square feet lean-to shed attached to the rear in lieu of the maximum cumulative allowed 1,200 square feet for the accessory structures. The existing is an existing residence. The area consists of relatively large lots in R1 and A1 zoning, assembled along the local and collective street networks. The property in question is 0.72 acres. The property, again, it retains its original R1 zoning. Section 701.01 limits the number of accessory structures allowed to 2 with an allowable cumulative square footage of 1,200 square feet of properties in residential zones for properties in A1 zoning district. The applicant has requested this variance in order to construct a garage workshop for personal use. The request is minor in nature. There are no accessory structures on the property. There will be no adverse impacts anticipated for granting the request. Since 2000, the board has heard 31 cases to allow the structures larger than 1,200 square feet in residential zones on A1 properties containing less than 1 acre. Although cases 3 were denied, the 3 denials are noted as bullet points in your report. As a result of that, staff recommends approval for case A24007.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case? Okay. At this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Y'all are a silent crowd. Okay. If no opposition, then the public hearing is now closed. If there aren't any other, any other questions or comments from board members, may I please have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval for case number A-24-0007.
Second motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the variance has been granted. And if staff will please present the next case.
Yes, ma'am. This is case A24008. It's a use variance to allow a camper as a temporary residence while constructing a single-family dwelling on the same property. The property is vacant, partially wooded, and the rear portion of the property is wooded. The property 4.89 acres. The property retains its original R1 zoning. The reason for the variance is section 60501, which is use regulations in R1 zoning. R1 zone allows for occupancy of campers and mobile homes only for temporary emergency relief purposes, for events like tornadoes, natural disasters. Depending on the size of the camper, it could be permitted by right as a mobile home. There's ample room for the property to accommodate the proposed camper and a lot of space for residential construction. Since 2000, the board has heard 9 cases to allow campers for temporary residence during a single-family dwelling. All these cases were approved with time limits. In your package, you'll also see there's 1 letter of support. That being said, staff recommends approval for case A24008.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case?
No.
Okay, at this time, we would like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Still crickets, huh? Sorry. Okay, if no one's going to speak, then the public hearing is now closed. If there are no other questions or comments from the board members, can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I make a recommendation of approval for case A-24-0008 with the stipulation that the use of the camper as a temporary residence shall cease after issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the single-family residence following construction or after a maximum period of 2 years.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? This variance has been granted also. So if the staff would please present us case number A-24-0010.
Yes, ma'am. This is a use variance to allow the establishment of a campground that will host fundraisers and retreats for veterans dealing with mental health issues, in addition to an existing residence. You can look above here and see that there's a aerial drawing of the campground. The proposed veterans or campers will will access the campground through the waterway. Through the waterway, which you can see right there. You can see the zoning also is A1 around it. There's an existing single-family dwelling on the property. Again, the property it abuts A1 zoning. New improvements will be a bathhouse, pavilion, and a dock. The cumulative acreage of the tract of land is 9 acres. Should the board approve the campground, the board should wish to consider the following stipulations that are in your packet. The campground shall obtain all necessary permits and approvals from the Jefferson County Department of Health prior to issuance of any building, miscellaneous electrical or plumbing permits for the property. Proof of access arrangements shall be provided to the Department of Development Services, which may include documentation of arrangements for nearby marinas to provide boat transportation for the client of the business, and or any approval from the Department of Road and Transportation that may be necessary to ensure adequate road access is provided to the property. Mental health professionals shall be present on the property whenever there are camping events or campers present. Upon the establishment of the licensed business on the property, the extended use of the property shall be limited to a campground retreat for veterans with mental health issues and an event center for fundraisers for the campground and retreat. The extended use of the property shall cease upon the termination of the associated business license. The long-range use plan designates this area as rural, which allows for consideration for recreational campgrounds. The proposed campground retreat use is permitted in C2. The proposed event venue can be permitted in C1 zoning district. Section 803 outlines the permitted uses in the zoning district. The existing residential loop is allowed in A1 agricultural zoning district. This is an unusual case. We don't have a zoning district that actually encompasses all of the uses that the applicant wants. So therefore, staff is presenting these, and we just would like you guys on the board to look at it and see what your purview is.
Thank you. Okay. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case?
Is the applicant here? Can he come forward?
Yeah, could you please come forward and state your name and address?
My name is Dylan Humphreys. I would like to add something.
What's your address?
298 Barnes Road, Bessemer, Alabama, 35023.
Okay.
You were going to add something?
Yes, ma'am. So that mobile home right there to your right with the red roof, it's been removed.
Okay. I have a question about the campers themselves. You said that you're going to host the veterans and their families for each retreat that you have, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So about how many people are we talking about?
Anywhere from 10 to 12.
10 to 12?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. But see, I have to see what size bathhouse I can get approved from the health department. Mm-hmm. So it's all going to depend on how many people that bathhouse can accommodate.
Okay. And I also had a concern about your plan for if there's an emergency, an exit route.
That road coming in, the dirt road, will be used as an emergency exit.
So is it a problem for the fire, police to get down that dirt road?
It shouldn't be.
Okay. I hear some opposition back there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to step forward and speak either in opposition or support to this? Please step forward and state your name and address.
My name is William Finnerty. I live at 180 Barnes Road. The situation that we have here is a lot more than what meets the eye. First off, I want to say that I do respect Dylan as a veteran. I'm a veteran myself. I also suffer with PTSD, same thing that he's in support of. I like the idea of what he's doing to a certain degree, but he has not given any thought to what's going on down there. I talked with the fire department this morning at 11:30, and they told me that they would not come down there if they had multiple campsites and all that. They would not. They can't. They don't have the equipment for it. They do have a four-wheel drive. So in a life and death situation, it's possible to extract someone, but most likely, it's not going to be suitable if it's a bad accident. Who knows? I've talked to a number of my neighbors who are also share my concern. And if you don't mind, I want to go through a few of them. The dirt road that he was talking about being used as an emergency exit, I have with me some 62 photographs of potholes and deep gullies, and up the side of the road, by nature of the terrain alone, drops off sometimes 60, 70 feet down. If you meet someone on that road, somebody's got to stop and turn around or back up or get out of the way. I met Dylan just recently on that road. I had to stop and back up to allow him to go by. That road is not a public highway, a public road. It is on private property. It's owned by Shamrock and Minor Leasing, formerly known as Valley Creek Mining. They're Morris companies. That driveway's been maintained by my father-in-law and my mother-in-law for quite a number of years.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. It has been maintained by George and Jimmy K. Pate for years, for 30 years at least. And my wife right here also got out there on tractors herself and maintained it. So I know it for a fact. That road has not been maintained since my father-in-law died. Neither I nor my mother-in-law have the equipment to maintain it. I talked with Dylan when I first heard about this, about maintenance on that road. Dylan has a Bobcat, and I assumed that he was going to try to take care of it. I ordered 7 loads, I think it was, of asphalt tailings to be put on that road. Dylan had a Bobcat. He could have fixed the road. He's done nothing. On the sides of the road, in about half a dozen places, he cut off to the side where water would drain off the road. But that don't fix gullies this deep already in the road. The suspension on my car is destroyed. I don't even try to fix it because you can't go up and down that road. Even his wife has problems getting in and out of that property. He said he had I'm sorry?
Does that road just go to where they're wanting to put the campsite? But
no.
This is where you live? You travel?
This is where my mother-in-law lives. She lives next door to Dylan.
Okay.
She's 91 years old, and we have to go down there several times a day to check on her. My grandson goes down there to check on her. At her age, you have to keep up with her constantly. She's bound and determined she's going to stay there.
So it's a road that you use regularly?
Yes, along with, I don't know, half a dozen other houses down there.
Okay.
It's as far as I know, and I tried to find out more on this through the mapping department over here, there is no easement granted on that road. There was a handshake deal years and years ago. Y'all go ahead and use this, and that's the way it goes. All right. With that being said, like I said, if you meet somebody, one of you's got to go around. I talked with the EMS, the sheriff's department, and the fire department. All three have refused to go down there.
So,
all three.
Even for your mother-in-law?
Even for my mother-in-law. At this point, I'm strongly considering putting her in a travel trailer right by my house where she can have her privacy, yet I can go walk right out the door and check on her. But we have boats. I can go down there by boat to get to her if I need to. You know, it's just the terrain down there is just unforgiving. It is horrible. Now then, I'm going to put myself in the position of his tenants that are going to come down there to camp. I have PTSD. You can throw a firecracker down by me, and it takes me 3 or 4 days to get over it. Right across the creek from where he lives.
That's air metal.
Just a moment.
Afghanistan from that veteran.
Excuse me, just a moment.
Order, please. Order, please. Order, please.
Sir, we're gonna give you a
Step on
chance.
my property line.
We're gonna give you a chance to report.
This man threatened to kill me. He
Okay.
threatened to kill me and my family.
Will you have a chance again to speak in a moment?
If a cop can't get up there,
We're gonna give you a
if a
chance
cop
to
can't
report.
get to my property, then what the fuck prevents me from going ahead and doing this shit anyway?
Folks, I rest my case. This is what I've been dealing with ever since I first heard about this.
PTSD, my ass. You're a fake. You're a fraud.
Order,
You're
please.
a fake, you're a bad
Order,
fake,
please.
you're a bad-
Order, please.
Excuse me, applicant, you will have a chance to question this on the opposition in just a moment. Let's keep order in here.
We have to be neighbors.
I ain't doing shit.
Order, please.
Let's not talk to him, sir.
Okay.
Just address the board,
Gotcha.
please.
We have to be neighbors, and as a result, I hate that Dylan's this hot about it. I called him to talk to him about the road here about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and this is the response I got. This is the very response. I asked him, what about the guy you said that has the bulldozer? That he had a friend with a bulldozer and truck. Don't fix that road.
Okay.
Now he says he can't afford it. That's fine. I understand gravel's expensive. But at the same time, like I said, I called the county. The county brought 7 loads of asphalt tailings out there. Now the asphalt tailings have disappeared, and know what? Nothing to fix the road with.
Okay.
In our neighborhood, we have a lot of thieves. We have pedophiles. We have all kinds of stuff going. Drug traffic like you wouldn't believe. Not a suitable place if you're weak at heart. Now then, as a veteran, I got to ask this. Does he have a counselor that's going to be there if one of these guys with PTSD freaks out? Because I do. I freak out every once in a while. I'm about ready to right now, just to be quite honest with you. I don't like being confronted. But at the same time, these guys, you know, if they lose their cool, they can be dangerous. I have a mother-in-law, 91 years old, right next door. She's worried now about people coming in her house. I don't think they are, but she's worried about it. Do I want to increase that worry by allowing total strangers to come down there? With that said, you've got veterans coming down there. I love veterans. I love them. I am one. But veterans are people just like you, and you. Veterans are people with habits. They're people with peculiarities. They're people that do their own thing. So they go down there, and they sit around their campfire drinking their beer and talking. Well, I don't know if he's going to have beer down there, but that's neither here nor there. They're sitting around talking. Somebody gets mad at the other one. Next thing you know, you got a bloody battle going on. It's by the nature of what we went through. Or at least I can speak for Vietnam-era veterans. I can't speak for his war. But by nature of the beast, tempers get hot. They flare up. Garbage up and down the road. I can see it now. Throwing your beer cans, your Coke cans, your plastic bags, your wrappers. Who's going to clean that up? Now, Dylan has this idea that he can do whatever he wants to do. In fact, he told me he could do whatever he wants to do. Well, okay, let's take a look halfway up that road on somebody else's property. He's got a dumpster sitting up there on somebody else's property. He's just taken over. Second thing, his truck broke down at the beginning of the dirt road. It sat there for weeks. Then he moved it over there where the dumpster is now, and it sat there where somebody stole it, according to him. You know, I don't have a problem with a veterans camp. I really don't. If that's what he wants to do, I support him in the idea, but not there. Not there. You don't have the access. You don't have the means of supporting it. Sanitation, huge concern. He's going to build a bathhouse. That sounds grandiose. I spent 20 years in the wastewater treatment business. Are they going to build a plant there? If they don't build a plant, then all of that water is going into the ground, which is going right there into Valley Creek, into Warrior River. There's no plans made for that I know of at all. Nobody's, in fact.
Well, and that would be done through the county, though. That would have to be something that would be
Understood,
approved
but-
by the county, so I'm
Understood,
sure
but
they're
these
not
are
going to
things that
allow
should have been
that.
considered before now. He's asking for zoning permission. I'm saying he ain't prepared for that yet. He hasn't got approval from anybody as yet. In fact, like I said, I just talked to the fire department this morning, and he told me, flat out, we won't come down there. He said, we have a 4-wheel drive. In the case of a dire emergency, we'll come. But, you don't do that when you've got 12 people on the ground. When you got 12 people camping down there, you can't depend on one 4-wheel drive coming down there and taking care of anything. People across Valley Creek from him are always shooting. They own their own property. They do their own thing. No bullets that I know of has ever crossed that creek. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I don't know. But I go down to my mother-in-law's. I hear them fire the gun across the street, across the creek. I lose my cool. My wife will tell you that. She's had to talk me through this stuff too many times. I asked Dylan about that, and his response was some way off and nowhere thing. He didn't have an answer for what it come down to. You got people over there shooting guns. You got people that have been in war zones that's got to deal with that. What are you going to do when they all freak out, or one of them, or two? You don't know. You just don't know. All right. Again, will there be full-time counselors on board if they need them? Excessive music, noise, whatever going on over there. I got a 91-year-old mother-in-law next door. I got a pastor next to her. And I got another house that I've never met those people because I've never seen them down there, to be quite honest with you. You go in and out of that dirt road going down there, you've got a lot of other neighbors out there. It don't seem like a lot, but half a dozen houses, that's a few folks. You got to be considerate of them as well as your plan. The only thing that matters to Dylan is that he gets done what he wants to do. And like I said, not all veterans are saints. We're just normal people, but we have our problems just like everybody else. And I asked about the sewage control.
Just a moment. You'll have opportunity in just a moment to address his opposition.
And as far as the absurd remark about me being a threat to him and his family, that is completely a lie. And he made reference to my religion. Let me just tell you who I am. I'm on the governor's staff in the state of Kentucky. I'm the pianist at Valley Creek Baptist Church. I'm a member of the 617 Masonic Lodge. I'm a community-oriented person. I rode with the Patriot Guard in Ohio. I may not be nothing in his eyes, and I may not even be anything in your eyes. But in my eyes, I donate my time and my talents to my community and my fellow man. And I can't stand for somebody to shove something down my throat, whether I want it or whether I don't. He notified people within 500 feet of his house. He sent my mother-in-law a notification. She's 91. She didn't even read it. Kathy picked it up and brought it home to us so we could be here today. There are no other people within 500 feet. Everybody down there owns acreage. I own 15 acres myself. How do you're going to affect me by virtue of the paved road coming in there, but with all the excess traffic. He's brought in a sawmill. He brought in big dump pans, that trailer he told you that was been torn down. All of that stuff come out of there, and some of it scattered on the road. I know I got out and stopped and picked a lot of it up myself. I don't like nails in my tires, He's brought in all kinds of equipment and trailers and stuff. Well, that takes a toll on a road, a paved road. You put it on that dirt road, and it becomes very treacherous. I've seen the situation where his wife couldn't even get up the hill coming out of their driveway because when it rains, mud's going to be mud, I'm trying to get all these points that I wanted to. I run out of time before I got here.
Okay, sir. Is that about, let's wrap it up so he can speak also again. Did you cover about everything on it?
I hope so.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, and at this time, in an orderly manner, will the applicant Please step forward if you would like to address the opposition's comments.
I've got a couple of people here to kind of help me today. But, all this is a work in progress. So, yes, we're going to get the road fixed. I'm only one man. You're talking about a 1 mile dirt road, right? I'm doing this off of a regular old middle class income. So, this is something I kind of dedicated my time and energy to do, and I spent the last couple of years doing it. Thousands and thousands of dollars have came out of my own pocket. I'll look into grants and stuff like that to get the road fixed. But really and truly, there's only so much I can do. And yes, I have worked on it here and there. But in the grand scheme of things, there's several other people that live back there also. So just for me living there in a residential standpoint, I don't understand why that means that I'm the one that has to be out there doing it for all these people, because we have 2 vehicles, just like everybody else has 2 vehicles that run up and down. Anyway, I'm gonna let Jeremy come up and speak,
Okay.
and then we'll have one other person.
Okay, please step forward and give us your name and address.
My name's Jeremy Scoggins, 3140 Shara Lane in Hueytown, 35023. I don't know this guy at all. I've never met him, wouldn't know him if he was standing in front of me. I do know Dylan. I've known him real well for a couple of years. The first time I've ever heard from this guy behind us, me and Dylan was on our way to a job in Montgomery. About Alabaster, he gets a phone call from this guy. The phone call, besides, it was a phone call I've never, you don't hear of. This guy, as soon as he picks up the phone, Dylan picks up the phone, this guy starts cussing him. Just putting him down. You're not going to do this, I'll do. It was from Alabaster all the way to Montgomery. Dylan was trying to be as reasonable as this guy, and it's probably the reason Dylan got as heated as he did, because there's not very many people would take a phone call and try to cool a guy down that was talking to him the way he was talking to him. I don't know the road, as far as the road condition. When Dylan bought that house, I went down there and I told him, I said, you are absolutely stupid for buying a house down here. This is the worst road I've ever seen in my life. You needed an army tank to get down there. But he had a goal and he had a dream, and that's something he wanted to do for his fellow Marines and everything else. So the road's been awful since he moved down there. And I like I said, I've only been down there 3 times, and I don't even like going down there. So the road condition, it can be fixed. I do own a dozer and loader, and I was told Dylan, I will fix this road. But I can't, with all this going on, I'm not going to get down there and do anything. I'm just keeping my hands clean. And that's what I want to do today. The main thing is I did hear the 45-minute, like I said, from Alabaster to Montgomery, we was on a job. And I wouldn't let a man talk to me that way. I'm just going to tell you, we'd be here for other reasons. But he just constantly, just hounded him, threatened his family. Buddy, I heard, I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not making that up. I listened to it. And he was heated. Granted, I guess in the form of things, he had a right to, but the thing about it is, his problem is his mother-in-law down there. If she's 91 years old, now where this place is, you're an hour from a hospital, period. If you call an ambulance, you're probably an hour and a half to get an ambulance down there. It's rural. It's on the edge of the earth just about. If I had somebody that was in bad health and I wouldn't leave them down there, because they're not going to make it, period. It's just that far. If something happens on the river, the plane crash that happened just not too long ago on the river, everybody probably heard about it. That was not far from there. You have to airlift pretty much anybody in and out of there if there's a problem. But there's many camps down there. There's many places on the river, and they don't have no problems. It's just royal. You're royal. You understand that, and it's part of it. I have no say no matter what happens. I can just tell you what I just told you. And like I said, the conversation, it really blew my mind. I mean, I don't know. You just had to hear it. I wish we'd have recorded it. It was kind of one of them moments we just sat there and kind of, really, this grown man is going to sit here and, I mean, boy, you need to do this, boy. I mean, just, you don't. There was a million other ways I would have handled it if it had been me and I didn't like it. So,
Okay, is that all your comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank
that's
you.
all I have.
Okay, was the public hearing is now closed? Oh, there was one more, I'm sorry. Okay, please state your name and address.
Hey, I'm Shannon McDaniel, and my address 10130 Chapel Park Court, Cottondale, Alabama 35453. So I'm not in Jefferson County. I'm outside Jefferson County in Tuscaloosa County. I know Dylan because we have started an organization called the Hunter Whitley Butterfly Initiative, and it's all around veteran mental health and wellness. Suicide awareness, veteran suicide is a big problem. And my son actually took his life in 2022.
I'm sorry.
So me and my family, we've kind of dedicated our lives to doing everything we can to try to raise awareness, let people know that we do have a problem, and also to let the veterans know that there is help out there, and it's okay to talk about it. And I think another thing is just to let families and friends know, and know what signs to look for. Dylan and our organization have been working together.
Can you speak up just a little bit
I'm
into
sorry.
the mic?
Yes. Dylan has been working with our organization. We've been talking about veteran retreats where we would have someone on site that is a mental health provider, counselors. We would have them on site. There would be no alcohol. This would not be a party. This would be a time to get together, maybe do some fishing, kind of hang out together. That's what those guys need. That's what they miss when they come home. That brotherly, that they can't get that when they get home, and they need that. They need that. The transition is really hard, and I didn't know how hard it was. I know now. A year and a half later, I know now how hard it is. But we're here to raise awareness and bring the communities together. We want to work together. We want to work with everyone, and thank you for your service. We, really, I don't know what but I can tell you that it's not a party location. Dylan has some wonderful ideas, and as far as like building a bathhouse, that's something that can, if that's something he can do, great. But that's also something that can be brought in temporarily on a trailer for a 2-day camp out. I don't know if y'all have any other questions of me, but that's kind of how.
I'm glad that you did mention that there won't be alcohol and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's alcohol is not good for so if you have any family or friends that are veterans and you see them,
Right.
Maybe a beer here and there might be okay, but if you see them overboard, it's not okay. It's never okay. I promise you, they have stuff going on and they walk around with a smile on their face. My son did. I thought he was okay. He came home from the Marine Corps, and after 4 years, and I thought he was happy. He started school at the University of Alabama. He was not happy. He was not happy. I didn't know the signs to look for. So no, alcohol wouldn't be a part of it, definitely.
You did mention that a mental health professional will be on the property.
Yes. So I have, my mother is a social worker. We have other volunteers in our organization. We have volunteers. We have connections with other organizations. There's a veteran health center in Birmingham, Sylacauga area. I have contacts. We had an event in December in Tuscaloosa, and we had Hope Point Behavioral Health that worked with us at that event. We also We also have been making some connections at the VA hospital in Tuscaloosa. So I have a lot of connections there, and they want to work with us. They want to be there. Anything that we do, they want to be there. There's not, and guns, we were talking about guns too. That's, honestly, I know that veterans like guns, but I don't have anything against them, but I don't like to hear them. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of veterans don't even like to hear fireworks. That's something else I didn't realize until Hunter passed away. I mean, even a firework,
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Michael. Mr. Morrison. The staff made 5 recommendations.
All right, it should be
Right.
consider approval, but yeah.
Right.
Just try to enumerate.
Is it possible for us to postpone this case until some of these recommendations are actually met, or we have some?
Yes, ma'am, that's the pleasure of the board.
Okay. Thank you.
And we could do it contingent upon those being met. We could say you would get approval if these conditions are met.
You could carry it over till you got more answers. I mean, it's all up to you guys.
Okay.
Whatever it is. y'all.
Okay. Or we could do the stipulation about the road condition too.
Right.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other applicants, I believe since opposition's already spoke, do they?
I got one
Do
statement
they?
to make, please. I would like to say that this gentleman, he's right. We haven't ever, I think we met one time, did we not, out there at Dillon's fence? I met a guy out there, I don't remember if it was you or not. But I would like to address what he said. He's right. I called Dillon, I found out about what all was going on at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was half asleep. I didn't feel good. Yes, I got mad. I admit it. I fully admit it. I was mad. I'm still mad. I did not threaten to kill his family, and that's an out-and-out lie. If I had, Dillon would have called up the sheriff and had me arrested. They can get to my house.
I don't need the cops.
Okay.
But anyway, what I was going to say was, I do recognize the situation that is volatile. But now, the young lady just said something about counselors coming in and out. How are they going to get in and out? They going to come in and out by the boat, or are they going to come down that treacherous road? I'll say this. I'll go this far. If Dillon will get that road fixed, make it a suitable, not just patch up a few holes, make it a suitable road, I'll shut up. But now here's the biggie. It's on private property, and on that private property, you cannot do anything permanent. That means he's going to have to bulldoze it and put gravel on it, and that's going to be expensive, and I'm sorry, but that is the only way you're going to stop me from opposing this. You've got to make it safe. You've got to have a counselor. She's addressed that. I'm good with that. Sanitation is an issue. I don't want my river polluted. But I'm a reasonable man. I'll go along with anybody, and I especially, like I said, I love his idea. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I'm a veteran. I wish somebody had done that for me. They didn't. I was in the Vietnam War. I came home to the most horrendous things you can imagine. But Dillon has taken a step in the right direction. I'll give him that. With that being said, I want that young man to know that I am a neighbor. He made reference to me being a so-called preacher. I'm an ordained minister. But there's one big thing that I want Dillon to also know, that I am a sinner. Yes, I backslide. Yes, every day, every single doggone day, and I hate it. But the profanity that he used and I used on the phone was unnecessary and unfortunate, but it did happen. I apologize to him for that. I'll stand my ground when I think I'm right, and I'll fight you to the bitter end. But at the same time, his wife and kids ain't never done nothing to me. For that matter, Dillon's never done anything to me.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. Are there any other questions from the board? If not, can I have a motion from the board with stipulation or?
Madam Chair, I recommend postponing the case contingent on meeting the following stipulations. 1, the campground shall obtain all necessary permits and approvals from the Jefferson County Department of Health prior to the issuance of any building, miscellaneous electrical or plumbing permit for the property. Number 2, proof of access arrangements shall be provided by the Department of Development Services, which may include any documentation of arrangements with nearby marinas to provide boat transport for clients of the business and/or any approvals from the Department of Roads and Transportation that may be necessary to ensure adequate road access is provided to the property. Number 3, mental health professionals shall be present on the property whenever there are camping events. Number 4, upon the establishment of the licensed business on the property, the extended use of the property shall be limited to a campground/retreat for veterans with mental health issues and an event center for fundraisers for campground/retreat. Number 5, the extended use of the property shall cease upon the termination of the associated business license.
Okay.
I second the motion.
The motion again is to postpone.
Is to
Yes.
Yeah.
postpone until we meet these stipulations.
Okay, so we postpone it until we can meet the conditions?
Can it not be approved with the
It
stipulations?
can do contingent upon those, I would
Contingent.
think.
We're approving it contingent upon meeting the conditions, correct? Is that right?
No, I was recommending postponing a decision until
Until there's
we,
more.
yes.
But here again, now, I will say this, like, that's a lot of expense to go through for a question,
Right.
to not have an answer to that. So if we could,
Well, we could just vote on that, and then if it doesn't pass.
We may want to consider, just because a lot of this is going to depend on, I think the key here, the issue here is the road, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we could postpone, what you may want to consider is postponing the case for, a month or 2 months, while we investigate what all it would take to bring the road up to standard, whether or not we've got access easements, whether or not there's any sort of county road right away, any maintenance responsibility, and we can have those questions answered for you by next hearing, if that's,
that would be great.
Right.
So, yeah, that would be great.
Yes.
I guess we just need to amend your motion to that effect.
Yes.
Right.
So I amend my motion to postpone for 2 months to get stipulation on better road access.
Second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this postponement with the stipulations on the road will be, we will address that again in 2 months. 2 months. And I just want to add that I thank both of you guys for your service to our country. Very appreciative. And I hope this all works out together for both of you. Thank you. This case is now closed.
So what are you guys going to need from me?
About the transportation, Michael.
We'll be in contact with you.
Yeah.
We'll be in contact.
It's not a denial or anything. It's just checking on a couple of things before we make a decision.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, I can tell you what I'm concerned about. It was the road and the fact that if there's an emergency there, it would be difficult for the fire. And I realize that.
He's kind of overreacting about all this because you can't get homeowners insurance on a house with an impasse for it. You can get up and down my road, and the plan all along has been for me to maintain.
Well, the other thing too is I'm curious how you have homeowners insurance if the fire department's saying they're not going to come down the road.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I would need to hear that from the fire department and have them explain,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I mean,
We'll check on that, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm very familiar with the river and the roads.
I apologize for blowing up, but that dude, I mean, he's been a thorn in my side, you know. And this is like I've tried to just keep calm and keep it bottled up, and then I just kind of exploded.
But we had
Yeah, that's
no,
not
you
a
know
good
what? We had no way of knowing anything that went on between you all.
Right.
So you almost really didn't help your case.
Yeah, you did.
You didn't help your situation.
I did, and I knew
They
I
could be
did.
thinking you're gonna have an episode.
But we just stuck to the facts. It's just transportation is really just the concern, so we thank you, and I'm sure
Yeah,
this
because,
could
I mean,
be resolved.
Yeah, because I mean, I watch programs where, you know, Buckmasters has a veteran shoot, and a lot of professional fishermen take fish, you know, veterans and children and things, they take them out on trips and stuff. So, I mean, it's a great concept. It's just a few wrinkles that need to be worked out. That's all.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm sorry, everybody will be happy.
thank you.
That guy ain't gonna be happy. He's, you know, he
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, next case,
In
please.
this case, we got another one.
Thank you. If the staff would please present us case A240011.
This is case, again, A240011. It's a variance for the terms of the zoning regulation to allow construction of a residence 29 feet from the property line in lieu of the 35 feet. They're going to build a house on an existing slab. The zoning is R1 zone, and it's 1.07 acres. The area consists of conventional single-family residential subdivision. The area was on from A1 to R1 for a residential subdivision in 1986. Section 60502 outlines the minimum yard requirements in R1 single-family zoning. There are no hardships as it relates to the land, but the request is minor in nature, as the proposed residence will be located on the footprint of the former residence on the site. There are no negative impacts foreseen for granting the variance. Traffic engineering, however, is requesting approval of the driveway location to ensure adequate site distance provided. That being said, staff recommends approval for case A240011.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have questions for staff or the applicant regarding this case? If not at this time, we'd like to open a public hearing regarding this item. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in opposition or support to this request? Okay.
See, you shouldn't have said anything about it being too quiet.
I know, y'all are very quiet back there. The public hearing then is now closed. If there are no other questions or comments from the board members, can I have a motion from the board?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval for case A-24-011 with the stipulation that the driveway location be approved by the Department of Roads and Transportation.
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the variance has been granted. Thank you. Our public hearing is now closed. Have all the members of the board had a chance to review the case materials and minutes from the January 22nd hearing that were sent to us electronically?
Yes.
Have a motion to accept them?
Motion to accept the minutes from January 22nd, 2024.
Second motion.
Okay. Yes, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, thank you. And now we have the election of the vice chairperson and secretary.
Correct. However it is that you want to present a motion, you could do it all in one slate, you can take nominations, that's the pleasure of the chair.
Okay. Are there any nominations, or y'all want to agree to what you're going to do?
I think we already agreed,
I
didn't
think
we?
we already agreed.
Okay,
We
so,
just need a motion to nominate
okay.
for the vice chair and the secretary.
Yes.
Move the motion, and then
Okay. We need to make a motion to nominate the secretary,
Chair.
Andre Parker. Oh, I'm sorry, did somebody speak? And then, was it Dr. Dickerson as the co-chair?
Co-chair.
Co-chair, vice chair, excuse me. Okay. And I have a motion to accept the slate.
Yes.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
Is that good?
yes in a second?
Yes, they said yes. So all in favor of this, say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Thank you. Our meeting is adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry, was I supposed to make a motion to adjourn? Hey, I'm learning. I feel like I've been thrown. Oh,
Well, that was interesting.
yeah.